Fort Collins Festival, first festival was in 1992. The precursors to that, in 1989, the Nebraska Groundwater Foundation hosted their first water festival. Tom Check, who was the executive or general manager of the Central Colorado Water Conservancy District in Greeley, is from Nebraska, was out there, had heard about this, went and saw what it was about, and brought the concept back to Colorado. So Tom deserves a lot of credit for that. He hosts the Conservancy District hosts the first festival in 91, and Northern Water, where I was working, was a participant, and I helped with that festival. And once that was done, said, we can do this in other communities. I was in Fort Collins, raising 3 daughters, loved the community, knew some of the people at the water department, and talked to my board of directors and management and said, I'd like to pursue this. And they said, go for it. So we were able to put one together in Fort Collins in May of 1992, towards the end of the school year, the first one in the city of Fort Collins. And it's gotten better ever since. Diana came at it with some great ideas. She knew what resources she could bring to the table. I knew what resources I could bring to the table. And we would get a couple more people involved, probably when our committee met each year a couple times in setting the next festival up. Maybe 6 of us, maybe 8 of us total, to brainstorm on what we want to do, what we want to change. And she's as big of a booster of children's water festivals as I am. And I think we're both proud of that. We're both proud of what we were able to bring to the table and make that festival. I think it's the leading festival in the entire state of Colorado, and one of the top ones in the American West, to be real honest on how it's come off. It's hands-on interactive learning, okay? So with children that are younger, you need to capture their imagination as quickly as you can. So what we've tried to do with the Water Festival concept is get exciting speakers that are good speakers. They're interested in educating kids. They want to be there. It's not something they have to do. And I think by bringing that energy from the presenter standpoint, it carries over to the kids. And once you get that magic going, that at a water festival, it's just contagious, I think, and kids just they love it. And it's loud. I've always said it's one of the loudest things, but that it means it's working if it's loud. So Water Wizards was a event that it was near and dear to me. I really steered that in the early days. And I grew up on the old GE College Bowl, which was a TV thing, much like Jeopardy is today. And anyway, long story short, said, let's try it out and see if it works with kids. And so we would get schools competing against schools. They would get 4-person teams, and we'd have a water wizard ask questions and score it. We learned very early on that to make it too competitive wasn't really what we wanted, because some schools spent a lot of time preparing for it and other schools spent no time, and you were really not trying to make somebody feel bad about this. This was an event to support your classmates. So many schools would do competitions for the team that eventually got to go up on stage and do this. But we had a lot of fun with some of the water wizards. We brought celebrities in. We used to get the mayor of Fort Collins. I can remember Anna Zari being the water wizard and dressing her up in the outfit and everything. We got a meteorologist from Channel 7 in Denver once, a woman by the name of Pam Dale, who was actually handicapped and in a wheelchair. She was our water wizard. I brought a Denver Bronco up one year to be a water wizard. There were other city council members. I know Jerry Horak at one point, I think, was a water wizard. So it was a fun time to get kids excited, yelling, screaming, and that sort of thing. Learning a little bit. Okay, so they learn a little bit. That's still our bottom line. And again, that was the loudest part of a water festival, the Water Wizard competition. And I think by and large, it was good, especially for those teachers and those schools that really put some effort into it. They loved it. some of the classes that I especially remember, the water wheel of misfortune, which was always outside. It was the shower that would we talk to kids about flooding and precipitation events and those things, and they would stand inside and get wet and whatnot. And it was always the teacher that got the major flood. You know, the teacher gets the CBT or the Big Thompson flood kind of thing. I mean, we had such a interest level from people in the community. We had some of the lawyers in the community, water lawyers, who put together a courtroom presentation, which was kind of interesting for the kids. And they really spent some time on it so that it was down to understandable for elementary school kids. I mentioned where your water comes from. We had a huge maze in the exhibit area for a long time that Division of Wildlife put together, and kids would go through it and get stickers and learn about aquatic animals. So there's so many different areas you can touch on if you do a water festival. We put together, some of our engineers came up with this edible aquifer concept, which you taught kids about groundwater and underwater, or the aquifers, and we used Sprite with blue food coloring, vanilla ice cream, a straw, and sprinkles. And you taught kids about some of the dangers of if you put pollution down into the groundwater, what happens. And they always got to eat it at the very end. So it was always a wonderful, and that was an example of people who'd been to a water festival who said, hey, let's try something like this. Okay, and that goes on, that I guess the synergy that people can bring to it. So I hope that continues as well. One of the best parts about the water festival experience from my standpoint is it's that teacher that keeps coming back year after year, or the teacher that you see in that supermarket sometime or at a CSU football game that says, hey, really like those water festivals. Thanks for doing those things. And I know Diana got a lot of that as well. Makes you feel good, and having the teachers especially say that. I mean, keep doing it. Keep the energy level up. I mean, that's why it's so exciting to get new people on staffs at your organization and our organization that have come with new ideas, or they don't have the preconceived ideas that we've always done it this way, so let's keep doing it that way. I think one of the things that the festival concept has allowed us to do is to make changes on the fly. We never got ourselves so involved that we had to stay this one way. We were always looking for better ways to do it. And I guess in 30 years, keep looking for better ways to do this, okay? Keep getting better at how we do the presentations. Really take a look. Don't take for granted that it's just gonna run. Look at it each year. Are there new issues? Are there some new concepts that might be worth finding somebody to talk about? And then you go out and you find those people. So keep it new, keep it fresh. I hope the festival concept's still going in 30 years. I'm a huge believer, as I said, and let's educate the kids. Let's give them some water awareness early on, and hopefully it'll carry with them as they grow older. That's really the key of it. I mean, just a wonderful concept. I'm glad that I was part of it. I mean, I lived and breathed. I flew back from Disneyland one night at midnight so I could make it to the Fort Collins Festival the next day. That's how much it meant to me. I would go, so I would get there real early in the morning. I'd be the first one there. I just liked opening up CSU, and I'd get there sometimes at 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, and if people would start showing up at 7:30 or whatever. But I just like the feel of the place, to watch it come to life as a festival opens up, watch the sun come up. School's stressful enough, and I think in this day and age, after coming off the pandemic, it's going to be even more so that we do things like water festivals, where we can interact with each other, watch all the smiles, and teach them something while we're doing it. it's one of those things in your career that you can't find a lot of bad to say about it. But